sentimental tosh in The Myth of the Sad Clown, which has lately been stretched to accommodate both Benny Hill and Frankie Howard, neither of whom were much sadder than most men are in late middle age. But comedians, in Philip Larkin's words, are forever surprising or hungering themselves to be more serious. It isn't entirely their fault, as television likes to analyse the appeal of its stars in order to give them intellectual dignity, which is the last thing they need. It's best to resist these intellectual blandishments, or, like Morecambe and Wise, incorporate the intellectual pretensions into the act.
As you know, Dame Claude, I've written the most brilliant play, and I've written it specially for you, and I've called it...
You've got my coat on, Mr. Wise.
You've got my coat on, Mr... No, that's not it. No, Oh, I'm terribly sorry, Dame Claude. Take this coat off, you fool! What's the matter with you? Really? I must apologise, Dame Claude.
You have one like this, haven't you?
I'm terribly sorry.
Could you give me a little more detail about your play? I don't wish to hurry you, but I do have a car waiting
Well,
outside.
of course. Well, my play...
Cigar, sir?
Oh, yes. I always smoke a cigar about this time. I smoke about 20 a day. Thank you very much.
One of your perks?
One of my perks, of course. About my play, Dame Flora, yes, it's an historical play. It takes place in the past.
Oh, yeah.
Could I have the keys to the wine cabinet?
The keys... to my cabinet? Yes, certainly. It's in my pocket here.
Sure.
Thank you very much, Dame Flora. I'm sorry about that. As I was saying, Dame Flora, I'm one of your most ardent admirers. I think I'm one of your most ardent admirers, and I must say, I've been the
Like Ernie, who longs to write plays, I've always wanted to write a sitcom and never managed it. It's a skill that's critically, though not financially, undervalued. A good sitcom is every bit as taxing to write as a good play. What's notable is that the subsidiary characters are often more undilutedly funny than the main ones.
Now, that is a miracle.
If you so much as sniggers, I'm going straight back indoors.
Margot and Jerry were funnier than Tom and Barbara because they didn't have to carry the burden of the plot and could just be their own terrible, unchanging selves.
After all, what are friends for? Mind you, this will be the first and last time, so make good use of me.
Right, run of beans in the box, please.
Even in Dad's Army, where all the characters are character actors, the vicar and the verger were always a special delight, simply because their relationship, fawning verger, Mr. Yateman, and irritable vicar, never altered.
In order to speed our deliberations, I've made a short list of the elements that have to come together to make a successful turkey dinner.
Trust him to make it long-winded.
Don't you start, Mr. Don't you start. He's a troublemaker, he is, sir.
I don't understand why he has to be here at all.
Mr. Hodges has booked the hall for this evening. It's only because he released it that you could have this meeting at all.
I think we ought to propose a vote of thanks to Mr. Hodges. Don't you, Your Reverence?
No, I don't. Please sit down, otherwise we shall be here all night.
Queen of such subsidiary characters was Joan Sanderson, who died a few weeks ago. She was the kind of character actress the English stage is particularly rich in, and which makes it all the sadder that we have no film industry to speak of. She was too subtle for carry-ons, too funny for Merchant Ivory.
Morris, I don't want
I first came across her as Miss Yule in Please, Sir.
You in Australia? The funniest thing I've ever heard.
Funny?
I'm sorry, but really, I mean to say, you in Australia, you're far too old. It would be silly.
Silly. I came to you especially. The most important decision of my life, hoping that you would at least, well, influence my judgment.
Look, I've got a vestigial calyx.
Vestigial calyx. And then for you. Now, I've reserved a very quiet room with a bath and a sea view. I specifically asked for a sea view in my written confirmation, so please make sure I have it.
Okay.
No. K what?
K what?
C. K what?
CK what?
Yes.
Who is CK what?
K.
Is it the manager, Mr. What?
Oh, manager.
He is.
Ah, Mr. 40.
What?
40.
What are you talking about, sir? Dinner's at 7:15, except for Mondays when there's a high tea at 6:30. If you'd like a drink before dinner, there's a bottle of sherry, but I don't encourage it.
Is there any chance of a cup of tea, Miss Wilbraham?
Tea was at 4:45.
By this stage, you're perhaps becoming aware that there isn't much connection in all this. It seemed to start off as a lecture, and now it's turned into something of a lucky dip. And you'd be quite right, of course. It is a lucky dip. But that's one of the great virtues of television.
She's a ginormous sow, isn't it? Hairy old beast, isn't it? Not like ours at all, are they?
That's right.
There's a definite, ham outline there, and not just a filled-in lump of blubber.
Yes, so it's actually sort of... I always think those old cattle prints were exaggerated,
Yes.
and the beast never actually looked like
what
what it's shown on the print. But I think on this, that pig is pretty realistic. He's done it very lifelike.
The pig's a pig, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right, and it's got a nice curly tail there.
Yeah.
That was part of one of the 2-minute chats on Rembrandt shown recently between programmes on BBC Two. There were others on Magritte, and I hope there'll be lots more on all sorts of subjects. They're the TV equivalent of sticking a few rockery plants in between the paving stones where they take the eye. Nobody discovered Rembrandt through the recent grand exhibition at the National Gallery, simply because to attend they had to make a decision and then stump up £5 for a ticket. So they knew what they were after before they went. Someone catching these 2-minute snatches has no expectations, and so just might be hooked.
That pig would have had a heck of a lot of flavour.
Absolutely.
That would have eaten beautifully, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
You can just imagine.
Lovely crackling on it.
Lovely crackling, yeah. If a little hairy.
That television should endeavour to educate and inform is jeered at nowadays, particularly on the right. The official philosophy is that we're all customers, and when we switch on we know exactly what we want. Hence there should be sport on one channel, pop on another, and though its eminently respectable proponents like Mr. Hurd don't actually like to say this, pornography on another. The analogy is with a greengrocer's, say, or a dry cleaner's. But even if we accept this scaled-down version of human aspiration, man as simply customer, the proper analogy, surely, is with a supermarket, where the customer comes across items he was not expecting to be interested in, didn't in fact come in to purchase, but which take his or her eye. A snatch of David Attenborough, say, when you'd switched on for Ross Abbott. A quick blast of Magritte when what you thought you were getting was Maigret.
See this? This is called the livers. You don't exactly need 3 guesses to see what this pair had in common, do you? Blind date, right enough, eh? Of course, some people think this is symbolic, but no if you live round my way, boy. God, half a coven walks about with blankets over their heads. Mostly when they're getting in and out of police motors, I admit. And of course, speaking as a lover, I do often find that Mary is apt to pamp the odd paper bag over my head when I do the business.
With a limited number of channels, TV is still a topic of discussion. A play or a documentary talked about the morning after at work or wherever. But the more channels there are, the less this is going to be the case. Of course, if there's no such thing as society, then this is of no consequence. But the very same people who make a fuss about the nation losing its identity in Europe are quite happy to see national television lose its identity and go the European way, so that we end up with a diet of pap and crap such as they get in France or Italy. As some ninny on the Sunday Telegraph said when broadcasting changes were first mooted in 1988, when Mrs. Thatcher's satellite revolution comes, it will be rare for an entire saloon bar or dinner party to have all watched the same television programme the night before. There will then be a healthy decline in the importance of the programme chiefs. There will also be an unhealthy decline in the programmes didn't seem to concern him. One wants to ask such people, what is it that you think helps to hold the nation together? A shared interest in the novelty